Hi, and welcome to this conversation about the Joy Money Matrix with certified facilitator Ashley Harwood. She is joining me. I'm Lauren Fritsch, and I'm the creator of the Joy Money Matrix. And Ashley is a former real estate broker turned entrepreneur who has a business called Move Over Extroverts. She is pioneering support, tools, planning, and strategy for introverts. And she's layering it with the Joy Money Matrix for some pretty interesting reasons. So today I am going to interview Ashley to talk about her experience, and she's going to share with us how all of that fits together. Introverts, entrepreneurship, joy. So, hi.
Hi,
Thanks for hanging.
you're welcome.
The first thing I want to know is you have made a transition from one entrepreneurial career to another. And what I want to know is what was the impetus for creating this brand, Move Over Extroverts? And how did you get there?
So it was a process and a journey, as these things always are. I had started in real estate about 6, 7 years ago, and my first few years were really challenging. Some people are off to the races when they start, me not so much. So I took a lot of training classes and I implemented everything I was taught, and those things did not work for me. So I felt really frustrated, and I was on this cycle of, do I quit? Do I, am I too burned out, or just do I need a couple days off to feel better? I stuck with it, and I finally found things that worked for me once I realized that I was an introvert and I realized how I needed to manage my energy. So fast forward, I built a pretty successful career as a single agent, and then I got to a point where I needed to leverage myself and either build a team or change paths and do something different. And I realized that building a team and managing people and having employees is not something that would bring me joy. I didn't have the exact words to say that back then, but that would have been definitely below my joy line. So, uh, with the help of my business coach at the time, we came up with an idea, something that would really help people and reach the people who are where I was in those first couple of years. And we realized it didn't have to be just in real estate. It could be any entrepreneur who identifies as an introvert, who does not love the traditional methods of selling. They don't feel comfortable, they don't feel joyful, they don't produce the results. And so I made this transition because I wanted to help shorten the learning curve for those business owners. Learn from my mistakes, learn from others' mistakes. You don't have to go through that.
Awesome. I want to ask you a couple questions about what you've shared with us. So, first of all, I mean, it's amazing to have one successful entrepreneurial career, and then to move into another is amazing too. What I'm curious about, these portable tools that you've learned from real estate that you realize apply to other businesses. When you were in real estate, what were you trying that wasn't working?
A lot of cold calling and door knocking and asking my friends and family, hey, who do you know who wants to buy or sell a house? I hate that question.
Right. And those two pieces are basically fundamentals for how most real estate agents do their marketing. Okay, that's interesting. What did you find as a real estate broker worked for you?
So first, I want to say those pieces do work for a lot of people. I never want to say that they're wrong. They just, if somebody's out there trying it and it's not working, that is okay. And it's okay to shift gears. So what I did was I shifted gears, and what ended up working for me really well was working through relationships and building my network, going to networking events and just being there. Instead of saying, hey, who do you know who wants to move? Saying, listen, I'm here when you have questions. I'm here when you need me. That's it. It's a very different shift, and people responded much better to that.
Awesome. Now, when you're speaking about introverts, I imagine that the words that you just spoke, networking and relationship building, might be a little bit fraught. What can you tell me about your approach to networking and relationship building for introverts that's a bit different?
Mm-hmm. So this is another thing that I had to trial and error over the course of a few years for myself. I was doing way too much of it in the beginning. I was
Mm,
filling my calendar because, especially once I gave myself permission to let go of the cold calling piece, then I really put the pressure on myself to be at a networking event every day, if not 2 or 3 times a day. And that was too much. And so for the introverts, my message is, if this is going to be your thing, you really have to tune into your energy and use it strategically, and not go to everything, but go to the most important things, connect with the most important people, and then stop before you burn yourself out.
yeah. You've used the term energy management a couple times, and I think that's something that I want to bookmark for later, if we have time. What I want to do now is switch gears a little bit. So you created this brand, Move Over Extroverts. You have a vibrant Facebook group. You can join that if you like, and you're watching this video, where people like us, because I also am an introvert, we can one commiserate, right? Because Facebook is a place where extroverts still dominate, right? So your Facebook group is a really nice place where everyone sort of gets it. There's a shorthand for introverts that makes communication and commiseration of it easier, and then also inspiration and empowerment. So for owning that type that we are, and that we can still be, massively successful. What I want to talk about now is, you, as a Joy Money Matrix facilitator, you had to go through the process of Joy Money Matrix first before you became a facilitator. And you went through that process with one of our other facilitators called Shannon Hernandez, and you can learn more about her. Her website is mshannonhernandez.com. And you went through that process with her. I'm curious, what about Shannon's Joy Money Matrix messaging appealed to you? What was going on in your life that you said, I need this. I've got my business, ideas and model, and I've got my approach. What about your life, your business prompted you to join Shannon's JMM last fall?
So I had a lot of pieces sort of figured out. I also had a business coach. Shannon is my coach. She was then, she is now. So even with all of that support, I still found the idea of sitting down for 2 days and mapping out all of my activities and my goals and just everything, and taking the time and space to do that, I found that really appealing. And I'm glad I did, because I had so many things I was trying to focus on. I was trying to do 100 things at once, all these different business ideas. And so, as you can imagine, none of them were getting done, in a very productive way or focused way.
Do you have your board with you? Is it nearby?
Yeah.
Can you show us? Yeah. I remember you saying, oh yeah, let's see that. Okay, so there's your board now. Look at how streamlined it is. This is so lovely.
No,
I
it's
love
great.
it. Yeah, and it makes you happy because you smiled so big.
Makes me
You
happy.
held it up. That's great. So for the uninitiated, she just showed us her actual matrix, right? So Ashley's matrix is is her visual representation of what's giving her joy and driving her revenue. In a glance, she can see what she still needs to make decisions on, what she still hopes to in the future delegate or stop doing altogether. And it is a tool that we use in the Joy Money Matrix community to make all of our strategic decisions. So can you tell us about what your board looked like when you first sat down and did it? It didn't look like that, did it?
No, it didn't look like that. It was a lot more things under that joy line. There were a lot of things I was doing, or I felt like I had to do, or I was currently doing, that I realized I don't have to do.
Can
And
you
I,
give us some examples of those things?
oh, I wish I had like, I know I have a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah.
So some of the things were just stupid little things. Like I like folding laundry, but I hate doing the bedding laundry. Can't stand it.
So how did you solve that according to the Joy Money Matrix principles?
So I delegated that.
Perfect. That's a great example. Is there something in your business that was underneath the joy line that you felt like you had to keep doing, but the Joy Money Matrix helped you recalibrate your priority?
Yeah, there was. And I think it's something that's really common for people in the consulting world. Um, I didn't have any active one-on-one coaching clients. However, I had that as a service listed on my website and I was talking about it occasionally. And what I realized is working with one-on-one clients in a coaching capacity is not something that's sustainable for me or that will bring me joy in the long term. So that got removed.
I want to ask you, do you think that that's a function of being an introvert?
Not necessarily. I think it's a function of um, there's a capacity limit and it's
Okay.
not easy to leverage that. And so at some point, I'm very aware of how much energy I have. And even if I had 5 one-on-one clients, that would probably be my max. And then I would hit this income ceiling. And
Right.
the whole goal is to not have an income ceiling.
Exactly. I asked that question for selfish reasons because I've been a coach since 2006. And my business model has never hinged on one-on-one work because I felt also like it would burn me out really quickly. And at the same time, I know women who sit in their desks and coach 8 hours every day on the hour, a new client every, 5, 6 days a week. And my husband would be like, why can't you do that? And I'm like, because I don't want to go crazy and I want to be healthy. And capacity is the first thing, that's the first way I've heard that described. I was just trying to tell him that I'm like an introvert and I can't do it.
You
um,
can do it, you're just choosing not to.
yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's really instructive. I hope that helps some other people who also maybe struggle with that concept of capacity, which I think goes back to what you speak about regarding energy management.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you next. So after you did your JMM and you made changes, what's opened up or changed for you in your life? What's opened up and changed for you in your business?
So some of the biggest things were focus and clarity. Like I've mentioned, I had all of these business ideas. I was able to put years on them, put dates on them, and say, okay, here are the things that are going to get done in 2020, 2021, 2022 even. So that allowed me to not only create the vision for this business years down the road, but it also freed up my brain space to focus on what I really needed to accomplish this year and this month. And I went through JMM in December. So it was really lovely to be able to do this before the start of 2020 and kind of go into it with that vision. So one of the big things that happened was my Facebook group got a lot more love and attention from me. And it grew from, let's see, December, I probably had 100, 150 people. We're now almost at 700, like
Wow,
690 something. Yeah,
that's huge.
it's huge. And it's because I was able to really focus in on growing that group and loving on that group. And this week I'm doing my first launch of my online course. So I was able to get the online course finally done, get the sales page done, get the checkout done, get all the things in place. So now I have something I'm really excited to bring to the world.
And that's all happened since December and with a cross-country move and the
Yeah,
holidays thrown in. That's
right.
impressive. That's quite a lot to accomplish in such a short period of time.
Thanks.
Amazing. That's truly amazing. When you list it out like that, Fantastic. Now, making the leap from participating in JMM and then becoming a facilitator, tell me a little bit about that decision-making process. What made you feel like I want to offer this to my Move Over Extroverts clients?
So this was one of the easiest decisions I've ever made, because as I was going through the workshop myself, I just kept thinking, this is what I've been talking about. This is what I have been trying to teach my people. And I don't have the words or the system for it. And I'm someone who's all about systems. If someone has done something better, I will borrow / steal their system and incorporate it, because I don't want to spend my energy figuring it out for myself. And so to have this beautiful system that I can bring to my people is just, it's so aligned. It's so perfect.
Great. I mean, I'm always happy to hear that. That's why I'm in this business, because I think that it makes change more accessible for all of us, whether we're facilitators or we're helping our customers, our clients make changes in their lives. So that's delightful to hear. What's on the horizon? What does the future look like for you?
Oh my goodness. The future is exciting. There's a lot going on. I have my online course and Joy Money Matrix pilot program in March, the 18th and 19th. So that's really exciting. I have plans to have a quarterly-ish JMM that I offer. I have a retreat in Aruba. I have a lot of things that I'm doing, but it's specific and it's all planned out throughout the year. So it's not all happening at once.
Cool. Now, when people join in the Facebook group, what can they expect to experience from hopping in? Because a lot of us have a lot of noise in our lives. Yet another thing can feel overwhelming, especially for introverts. Tell me a little bit, we're not all just sitting around there being silent. Tell me a little bit about what people can expect to see and hear and participate in the Facebook group.
Yeah, so it's a great group for introverts because it's pretty much mostly introverts in the group. There are a couple extroverts who are I find this whole introvert thing really fascinating and I support you guys, so I let them in. They're great. They're very supportive. So it's a place where people come in and they can really dive into a community where they feel accepted and understood. And a lot of times they're not getting that in their office or even in their home. And so it's a nice place where people can say, I'm struggling with this. I was at this party and I hit a wall and I had to leave. Does that make me weird?
Yeah.
We can all hop on and say, absolutely not. You're awesome. Good for you for going home.
Yes. Now, I want to talk about a little bit of I know you have a lot of entrepreneurs in your group and you're in the LA area. You are actively working with some corporate clients to empower introverts in the workplace. Can you tell me a little bit about, let's say, one or two things that introverts in the workplace can think about on a daily basis that can help them energy manage?
Yeah, so I love a journal, either on paper with pen. I'm a felt tip girl. I use my colored felt tips. They write nicely. But you can also do this type of journaling work via the voice memo app on your phone. If you're in the car, you can just talk through something. And the purpose of that is to really hone in on your energy level in the beginning of the day, midday, at the end of the day, and then go back and look at what happened during the day. Who did I talk to? Did that raise my energy or did it lower it? So it's a lot of self-awareness and data collection, and then you'll start to see some patterns. Maybe in the corporate world, maybe you have one coworker who's just an energy suck. Maybe they're really negative and they like to complain. And then after you talk to them, you feel really negative and your brain starts to complain. So maybe that's somebody that you can avoid.
Cool. That's really helpful. I'm glad that we got to talk about that, because we've all heard like, oh, go journal, but to have something that specific as this is how you're going to journal and this is what you're going to take note of, I think is very effective. Cool. I'm so glad that we got to talk about your journey with JMM and about moveoverextroverts.com. So is there anything else that you want to share with people who are going to be watching this video?
The Facebook group, if you want to join, is called Introvert Entrepreneurs with an S. And I really do think that JMM is something every person should go through at least once. It is not just an introvert thing. It's not just an entrepreneur thing. It's not just for corporate. It has all these different applications, and you really can tailor it to exactly what you need in that moment. And also, I also see the value in doing it more than once.
Absolutely. I'll follow that up with one of the first facilitators who, Ashley, you haven't met because she's changed her life a lot as a result of JMM. She has moved to Norway and she has closed her business and she is focusing on songwriting and memoir writing and art, and she found the love of her life. So JMM really opened up horizons for her in ways that she was never expecting in the second half of her life. In any case, she was the first JMM person, and she still uses it in her life. And she says that she literally makes every decision from the Joy Money Matrix. Oh, wow. So, and we will, just for people's future reference, is we have had requests to roll out JMM for couples, families, teens, college students. And that we are working on curriculum behind the scenes. That is a longer tail project, but certainly all that stuff is going to come out over the next 18 months. And, you know, Ashley is at the forefront of it, and I'm excited that you're spreading the love of joy. And then just from a scientific perspective, there is a study that when you share joyful experiences, even if you're just talking about it at the water cooler or in your Facebook community, that the ripple effect actually takes, it travels 3 degrees removed from the originator of the joyful experience. So if someone is popping on to Introvert Entrepreneurs on the Facebook group and sharing something that's joyful and awesome for them, that's actually going to have a huge ripple effect. And there are studies. I can find that citation for you too if you want. So sharing the joy is a big part of why we do what we do, because it has a massive impact on mental health and our productivity outcomes, and of course, energy management. So thank you for joining us today in this little chat, and please check out moveoverextroverts.com and Introvert Entrepreneurs, the group on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.